Good evening, everyone. My name is Darkness, and I am here with WOR to commentate the social race around Silverstone. I don't know about you, but I'm thoroughly excited for this. I am certainly looking forward to see what these drivers have in store for us around this track. Yeah, the music's still on, I realise that. Slight mistake. It's fine. I realise as well, I had a look. Unfortunately, I have not got fancy graphics like everyone else. I apologise for that. Is it really that loud? Is the music really that loud? I thought I turned it down. Okay. Hopefully it's not deafening to you now. I believe we're currently waiting for the driver to get started, but before we get into it, welcome to WR Social around Silverstone. I've repeated myself. Great. Unfortunately, it is just me today. I was going to have a co-commentator for my first time here with WR, but unfortunately they were unable to make it. So you will enjoy the 26 laps with hopefully this will be a full grid. I'm looking for to see what they've got in store for us. It's 26 laps, short qualifying, 18 minutes of qualifying. I don't really know the only fun facts I can think of is you can't do what Michael Schumacher did all those years ago. You can't dive in the pits to cut across the line for cross the line quicker than everyone else. That's pretty much it, really. I mean, we all love this track. We've all seen all the chaos. We've seen over the years Hamilton winning it. What was it, 7 times now? We've had Verstappen and Hamilton have their incident going through cups. Hopefully, this is the new game. The handling is so much better. These drivers will not have an incident like that going through cups. We've seen plenty of great battles going through Mackins and Beckett's. You got going through Chapel and up to Stowe, that uphill DRS straight. Loads of overtaking opportunities up there as you go into that right-hander and down towards the Yale chicane. The chicane as well, we've seen loads of people will try and go for overtakes there, I hope. Because it is, whilst a very tight chicane, it is still an enjoyable chicane to fight with someone side by side. And then, of course, we do have 2 DRS straights, if I'm not mistaken. You've got the Wellington straight, and as I mentioned just before, the Hangar straight going up the hill. So we'll have to see where all the overtaking opportunities will be. I've not raced around Silverstone in the new game, but I'm sure these guys have put in plenty of practice for the race, and it'll be very interesting to see if that practice will pay off. Thank you, Bot, for informing me about the music. The race is closed. So as far as I'm aware, you have to sign up for it, and then the grid is chosen by the staff, and it's sorted out there. So I can't say as to how you join. It's up to the staff of WOR. Nadim is a mutual friend who just so happens to be in this race as well. But I'm not going to be biased. I know not to be biased. But I do look forward to see what everyone has in store. Hello, Bot. Brodo, I hope I've pronounced your name right. Armin, hello. Beaver Sama, Julio, Killjoy, T Savage, Amsterdam. I've probably missed a few people, and I'm sorry. I don't exactly want to tab out the game because I think we all know how unstable this game can be. And I don't want to risk anything, even though I might just be spectating the lobby. Please bear with us. I think we are, pardon me, I believe we are going to get going very soon. I really wish I had those graphics now. I had a look at the another place. There we go. Oh, okay. Hope everyone's doing well. It is a Monday evening. Who doesn't love Mondays? Mondays are the best days, aren't they? Welcome, Shanae. Goats racing. We'll have to see who is the goat. Who's going to come out and win Silverstone? We do have strict corner cutting, and we do have safety cars. So it'll be interesting to see if we're going to have a safety car come out during this race. and how that's going to change up the order and the strategies that people will put in play. I believe we've got all 20 drivers now ready to go. This is getting exciting. I don't know about you guys, but I'm thoroughly excited to see what is in store for the race this evening. Hello, Rico. Welcome. Shanae as well. I think I might have said hello already to you. But yeah, I hope everyone is doing fine and dandy. I believe there are a few people getting ready now, so we'll have to see who is racing. When we get into qualifying, I'll switch to it and you'll be able to see who is participating. Hopefully we can get going very soon. I'm actually very curious to know what's going on. Minor technical difficulties with the settings will be underway soon, I think. How did I end up here, Shanae? Good question. Let me know when you find the answer. Right. Here we go. Now everyone is readied up, and we are about to head on to the circuit for qualifying. We have 20 drivers. We are going to have a full jam-packed grid. It'll be interesting to see. Oh, no, we haven't got a full grid. Sorry. No, we got 19, I believe. We've got 19, so we'll have to see. Let's switch on over. Do bear with me. I may have forgotten to add in the game capture. Hopefully that should pop up now on your screen. Hopefully. Looks as though it has. Yeah, it has. There we go. Perfect. I have everything working. I promise. Now we are in for qualifying. Now we got 18 minutes. There you go. There's the full list. Unfortunately, I said we got a full grid. We haven't. I believe we have... I cannot tell who we're missing. We are missing one, and I can't tell which team we're missing. That's Ferrari. We only have one Ferrari on the grid today. But that is fine. I'm sure we will still have some interesting... interesting race to see. I have no audio. Apologies, everyone. There we go. Hopefully that's not too loud for everyone. But let's get in for qualifying. We have, I believe that is an Alpha Tauri coming out of the pits. That is. We have Raymond. Please, as well, I'd like to apologize in advance now if I pronounce anyone's names wrong who are racing any of the drivers. I apologize. I will do my best to pronounce your names. Yeah, ideally I'd like to pronounce them as best as I can. But the first driver out on the grid is going to be the AlphaTauri Raymond de Niet, I believe. To join the future socials, I believe, to the best of my knowledge, you want to join WOR on Discord, and then you'll be able to find the details there for future social races. That's as far as I know. Unfortunately, we do have one driver now leaving the session. Hopefully, we can get them back in before not too long. We may have 16.5 minutes now, but that is 16.5 minutes that could be crucial to their lap times. Now going through Maggott and Beckett. We'll have to see. Unlike previous games, some of you, I'm sure many of you, have been racing for a while. F1 2020 and 21, whatever tyres you qualified on, were the tyres you would start the race with. But since 2022 and now into 2023, you can qualify on any tires that you wish. There we go, we got 20 drivers now. You can qualify on any tyre compound that you wish, and you can then choose on any tyre compound you wish to start the race with. So it is free choice up to you, as we now see the AlphaTauri coming around the final corner. He's going to start the first hot lap of the session. Let's go on board with him. I will do my best to go through the on board, going through the first couple of corners now. Abbey and into Farm. He's keeping it very tidy. Now into 4, 5. Down towards, what is this, Antry, I believe, and then down the Wellington straight, the first DRS straight on this circuit. 1 of 2, he sets the, of course he will set the purple first sector, he's the first driver out. It's a little too loud, I will go through the settings and turn it down, thank you for informing me. Let's put just the master volume down. I'll try it in game settings, and then if in game settings is still not enough, then I'll go through into OBS. But now into Cops. He actually stuck through Cops in 8th gear, which is quite interesting. In practice, I've found, or I've been told by many drivers as well, that sticking into 7th gear for that corner helps you get through with good pace. Now coming up the second DRS straight, we've got the hangar straight coming up to Stowe. It's an uphill right-hander coming down towards final few corners to finish the lap. Don't want to extend too far out on the left there, you will invalidate your lap. Now to the final chicane, quick left-hander, right-hander, the curbs are still there, they will certainly destroy your car if you try and go flying over them. Now around the final corner across the line, the initial time to beat is a 1:26.0 as it's immediately smashed by a 1:25.7 by the Red Bull of sorry, not the Red Bull, the Alpine, apologies. Now it's smashed by the Red Bull, a 1:25.6. So certainly will start tumbling down the order as people put in their laps, either banker laps or their fastest laps. Of course, as time goes on, the track will ramp up and improve. There we go, a 1:25.5. As Victor then puts in a 1:25.6 for P2. Just 8 1,000ths quicker than Carlos or Sanchez. I'll stick with Sanchez in that Red Bull there. And there goes not the lone Ferrari. Now, Igor up to the top with a 1:25.3. But as I was saying, the track will ramp up over time. So eventually times will start to tumble down the order, and we'll probably see drivers going into the 1:24s. Say it, and it will be done as Benny Fabos puts in a 1:24.9. But yeah, as time goes on, the track will evolve. Times will tumble, and Nadeem gets it in for 9th place, a 1:26.5. Got Kick in the AlphaTauri with a 1:26.0, demoted down to 9th place now as the second Ferrari, Joris, puts in a 1:25.333. A very good lap by the two Ferraris, currently holding provisionally 2nd and 3rd place. Still got ourselves 5 drivers, to set a lap. Unfortunately, Sol coming through the final chicane. I think he's preparing to go for another hot lap. Invalidated his previous one. Got the Mercedes currently going through the 2nd sector. Let's see what he can do now, crossing the line. Pardon me, a 1:04.008. See what he can do in this final sector now. The right-hander. Oh, no, he's going to dive in the pits. My bad. Jammy as well. I believe he's currently going through on a hot lap, going through Magnus and Beckett. It's going to be very tidy indeed. You'll see the racing line when you're driving around Silverstone will slowly go into the grass a little bit as you come down the Wellington straight. Going into the grass is not optimal, but considering the speed at which these cars go... Okay, I've got teleporting cars on my screen. Considering the speed that you are going through those corners, it seems to be optimal for every driver before now goes through Jammy with 11th place, a 1:26.061, just 4 1,000ths off of 10th place, which is quite unfortunate, but we still do have 11.5 minutes. Did say previously Sol was on a hot lap, unfortunately invalidating again. Let's have a quick look to see the tyres. The best laps. Sol is still yet to set one. Fortunately, though, you can choose what tyres you want to start off. You can go for soft sets. You'll get, I think, 4 sets of softs in qualifying. You can go for medium, where you can obviously use them, or balanced, sorry, where you can use the mediums. And then you've got the harder compounds when if you want to use the harder compounds a lot more in the race. So if you're doing, let's say, I don't know, a 2-stop hard medium, something like that. Right, so we have currently, oh, that's the elf. I think that's just McLaren getting out of the way for approaching drivers. Yep. We've got 10 minutes remaining now. Yeah, 10 minutes remaining. Let's see what the drivers can do. Provisionally, we've got Ben Fabos in the Red Bull, currently sitting on pole with the 2 Ferraris just behind in second and third place, Joris and Igor. And to finish off the top 4, we have Aaron with a 1:25.596. So currently splitting the top 4 is about, what is that, 6/10? And a second between the top 8. Just under a second between the top 8. So far, incredible start to qualifying. This is short qualifying. We've got 18 minutes, and then we're doing 50% race, so it's 26 laps around Silverstone. Though full qualifying would be very interesting. If you look at how close everyone's timings is, we've got Adma, who's putting a 1:37. Hopefully that was just a banker lap. There we go, across the line. Let's see if they're going for a hot lap now. They certainly have the ERS to do it. Let's actually leave that on and let's see how they go through their second hot lap of the session. See how much they can improve off of that initial banker lap. Going through now, he's going up the Wellington straight, sorry. Go on board with them, actually. Probably got half a second improvement in that first sector, which is very impressive. Of course, he's about 10 seconds off the pace. We'll have to see where he can improve that time. Now going through into Brooklyn's left. Sorry, this is now down the old pit straights. Apologies. And into Cops. See, he stays in 8th gear and then drops down to 7th at the very end of it. So it's very interesting to see. Now he's actually got a McLaren passing him. Hopefully that does not impede on his lap at all. Now going through Beckett and through Chapel. Now going down the hangar straight. You heard the beep for DRS. Wasn't opened at the line, but it certainly will help with it open now. Going through Stowe. Keeping it, he did go wide, but he did manage to keep it in, he did manage to keep it valid, sorry. Now coming through the final couple corners, almost losing the car. He certainly will improve his lap time, but how much will he improve it by? He improves it by 4 seconds, 4.5 seconds. It's actually an incredible improvement so far for him. Let's see, who else do we have currently on a hot lap? I believe we've got Joris currently going in. Down the Wellington. The Wellington straight. I keep getting that wrong. Purple first sector. Joris is on a flying lap so far in the first sector with now just over 6.5 minutes remaining. He has managed to put in the fastest sector. Now going through Cops, he remains in 8th gear, so 8th gear seems to be the charm for that corner. Now going into Maggots, then Beckett's. Almost climbing the curb there. I thought he almost lost the car there. Now going through Beckett's. Coming towards Chapel. He will have DRS open now. Right on the line. Keeping it very well indeed. Unfortunately, not a purple second sector, but he is up by 3/10. He's provisionally looking at possibly the front row. Is now No Grosjean in the Williams puts in a second place finish. A 1:25.245. Now here comes Joris. Around the final corner, across the line, a 1:24.877. That is the new fastest lap of qualifying, and that Ferrari is now put it on pole. What an incredible lap. That was a half a second improvement. And now we have 2 drivers in the 1:24s for this session. An incredible lap indeed for him. Let's have a look slightly further down the grid. We do have a lot of other drivers, I think, going through an improvement. We've got Raymond, who initially put in the first hot lap of the session, now improving. He's about 1.5 tenths up. Can I trust the game? Now crosses the line. He does improve by 1.5 tenths, but unfortunately does not improve by enough to take a position. What else? Who else do we have? Jammy's going into the pits. We have Nadim now. He's currently got a full tank of fuel and almost a full battery. So I presume we'll see Nadim going for a hot lap now. He's currently 1/10 exactly behind Jammy in 13th place, or Jammy in 12th place. So we'll have to see what can Nadim do now. He's going to start his hot lap now. 5 minutes remaining. He's got time to finish this one and potentially do another. Let's see what he can do now. And into the first corner, he keeps it very tidy. He's not sure if he's a little wide off of the apex, but he keeps it well under control. Now going through arena now towards the Wellington straight. DRS will be wide open. DRS is the drag reduction system, enabling drivers to reduce the drag and increase the speed that they have on the straight, enable overtaking or attempts at the fastest lap. Now going through Brooklands, Luffield, coming down towards Woodcote, keeping it very safe within the boundaries of the track. Now coming down the old pit straight, going to go into Cops. Is he going to go flat out through it? No, he gears down. He does exactly what I thought drivers would be doing. He gears down in 7th gear, sorry. Now into Maggots, keeping it very tidy away from the curves. We've seen a couple drivers accidentally mount the curves, but still impressively keep control of their car. There it is, DRS wide open again for the final time in this lap. Coming down the hangar straight, he's going to go up into the uphill right-handed stow. Going wide, but he keeps it valid, and he dives into the pits. I think he's not happy with that lap. He is on 2 lap-old softs, so we'll have to see what he's going to do next, if he's going to come out and improve. Fabos is currently, he's set a purple middle sector, nearly a 1/10 improvement. Are we going to see another change in the order, and will the Red Bull put his car back on top now? Going through the final, oh no, okay. And into the pits he goes. He sets the fastest middle sector and dives into the pits. It looks as though Igor is low on fuel. But is he? I think, no, he's going for it. Igor's going for a hot, he's on a hot lap, apologies. So now going through the final corner, across the line, a 1:24.7. He does improve, but he's still 2/100ths off of Matthew Basset ahead of him in the Alpine, who's currently on an outlap, sitting just 9/1000ths behind Justin in the Mercedes in 5th place. Still, what is this? So the top 10 now are within a second of each other. That is incredible. As incredibly close driving by everyone. Now, once these yellow sectors clear, we've got 2 minutes remaining. With 2 minutes remaining, drivers have the opportunity to still come out the pits. Average lap time about, call it 1:30. So you can push it to about, I think it's 1:40 to come out for your outlap before it is far too late. And you might not be able to make it to the line unless you were to cut every corner. But that's going to ruin your tires and, well, potentially ruin your car as well. You can receive damage in this game. We've seen the curbs, what damage that's done in F2 in previous years as well. So we'll have to see. I think we've only got 1 driver remaining in the pits. We've got Don in the AlphaTauri sitting in 15th. He's got a 1:26.614 staying in the pits. Eagles just come in the pits now. So I have to look. We have Victor. He's just started his hot lap now. Victor currently in 4th place. His teammate, unfortunately, down in 20th place. Is he on a hot lap? We've got both McLarens out for laps. Let's see what the two of them can do. With ADT ahead, let's see what he can do going through now. Luffield now coming towards the old pit straight, keeping it very close to the track limits. Into Cops. He leaves it in 8th gear. He's going to stick through it. Now coming towards into Maggot and Beckett. Almost pushing the limits, but he's keeping it well within what is allowed. He goes wide, keeps it valid though. He's still got this. He can still set a valid lap time as Igor now retires from the session. He's happy with his lap time, and unfortunately does not have enough time left in the session to improve. Now coming through Stowe and down towards the Vale chicane. What can the McLaren driver do? Can he stick this beautifully together and put his car up into the top 10, potentially up to the top 4, and join his teammate? Now coming towards the final corner and across the line, he puts in a 1:26.5 up into 15th. Just still not a bad lap. Just behind him, we also have Victor currently improving. According to the game, he's about 1.5 tenths up. Let's see if we could trust that. Now coming around the final corner and across the line, he improves by 3 tenths almost and manages to take 3rd place from the Williams driver. Joris in the pits. We've got Benny on a hot lap. He's currently just matching his previous time. Same with the Williams. A lot of drivers out now. Let's see where they can put their cars out. Apologies if I miss any of them. We have an Alpine going slow. I think he was in low fuel mode going through. Beckett's now. We've got the Mercedes of Audons currently sitting in 9th place at 1:25.596 with a 3/1000th of an improvement in this second sector, a purple middle sector as well at that. So we'll have to see what he does now going through Stowe, keeping his car very well under control. Now coming towards the chicane. Can he improve time? Can he maintain that improvement, sorry. Now around the final corner, the Mercedes will go for a 1:25.5. Certainly an improvement, but unfortunately not enough to take 8th place from Igor. And I think we've only got one driver left out, which is then Benny Fabos. Red Bull driver currently setting the fastest lap. Okay. Well, that is one way to finish qualifying. He puts in a 1:24. What is that? 790? That is an incredible... Sorry, a 780. That is an incredible lap by the Red Bull driver. Absolutely leaving it to the last possible moment to put in an incredible lap. And now only 3 drivers are in the 124, sorry, for the top 3. And the 125s for the top 12. And still, actually, that new lap time splits where the 10-second mark is. So now it's the top 9, sorry, who are all within a second, if my maths is correct. So that was an incredible qualifying session, and well done to the Red Bull driver for putting in an incredible lap. There you go, top 9 are in within 7 and a bit tenths for that qualifying. That was incredible to watch, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Unfortunately, Sol was not able to put in a valid lap time, and Adma, the Aston Martin, he did manage to improve their lap time, but not enough to gain positions. Quite unfortunate to see, but we still have 26 laps to go around Silverstone, so that's 26 laps of exciting battles, and who is going to get what into the first corner. Of course, we've got the strategies as well. I believe you can do a one-stop. I'm not sure if medium soft is possible, but certainly medium hard and hard mediums are possible, so it'll be interesting to see what tire option people choose to go for. If they go for the slower compound at the start, go for the faster compound at the end when they've got less fuel, or are they going to go for the mediums at the start to get a much better launch than everyone around them, and hope to elongate how long those mediums will last before having to pit for the hards, or perhaps the softs. You know, as I mentioned, I don't know if you can do the one-stop softs. Be interesting if you can, and if they manage to do that, I will be incredibly impressed. I certainly do hope to see someone be daring enough to do so, but of course I want everyone to finish the race, and, you know, not have any Max Verstappen or Hamilton incidents on the circuit now as we wait for the session to start. Let's just take... There we go. Now we're onto the grid. I believe we do not have a formation lap, so we are going to jump straight into it. It's not allowing me to see anything. There we go. Everyone's already off the line. We've already got one person DNFing. That's Ben Fabos. The Red Bull who put it on pole is now out of the race. Now the Williams is ahead into the lead of the race with Sanchez just behind. And the Haas has managed to go up 7 places now, up into 4th place, 6 places, with Matthew Bissett just behind. Already, we've now got Sanchez out of the race. The Red Bull is out of the race. Already, and now Nadim is into the lead of the race. What an incredible start. There's now only 8 drivers left in this race. What is it? 7 drivers now left in this race. So much carnage at the start of this race. No, it isn't the start of the race. I think there might be a technical difficulty. Wonderful. That was very exciting, very quickly. Definitely something was wrong there. See, as far as I was aware, it was just you jump straight into it. I was not told about it going into another session. So apologies for that. I promise I'm good at this. Okay, no. It was technical difficulties. We would have started the race, but unfortunately we have to restart. That is what's happening. It's fine. I got my practice in for the race. I got my practice in for the race. I'm now ready for chaos to ensue. Now we have to wait for people to just retire, not leave the session, or leave the lobby, sorry, and then we can get on with it. So we do have drivers now reconnecting. As soon as people started dropping like flies, I got very worried as to what was going on, what happened at the start there. But no, there we go. Retiring due to damage being off. So now that makes a bit more sense. It was... it's fine. It's all good. Hopefully we can get these final 3 drivers to retire. And, pardon me, we can get on with the race. Meantime, I hope everyone's doing fine and dandy. It is a Monday evening. I mean, I know Mondays can be quite, well, Monday-like. But hopefully this brightens up your evening. And you get to enjoy an incredibly interesting and incredibly exciting race with me tonight. Just got to get 2 more drivers to retire. What I will do in the meantime, actually, is I'm going to switch to turn off game capture for the time being. As we are... the stream is not ending, don't worry. We are just going to wait now to get on with the lobby. Please bear with us. We are remaking the lobby. Hopefully we can get this sorted out. Crisis averted. Now we got the peace. You guys have got the music. I haven't got the music, which is quite frustrating. But it's fine. As we now prepare the next lobby and we can get into the race. And hopefully that will not take too long. We do not take too much of your time. Just watching the black screen, but enjoying some incredibly nice music. I do have to say, I quite enjoy this music. Let's have a look now. Let's leave the session. Please do bear with us. We do have, I believe we'll have everything sorted out. I'd like to hope in the next 5 minutes we can get underway with the race. It is 26 laps, averaging about 1 minute 30 per lap. So we'll be here not for too long. What is that in maths? 90 seconds times by 26 laps. Oh gosh, I can't do maths off the top of my head now. This isn't the best, is it? God, now I need to know that. Looking at about 40 minutes of racing. Of course, we do have safety car on, so that will certainly throw a good spin to what is possible now. I will be right back. Hopefully we can get everything underway. And we are back. Again, apologies for that. We have everyone in the lobby. We have qualifying sorted out. It was technical difficulty because we had damage off, but we are back. So now let's see what we've got in store for us for the race. If you were there with us before, you had me panicking because everyone was DNFing at the start of the race. But fortunately, that is not the case. And in actuality, that was just because we had a bit of a problem. Damage was turned off. There we go. You can see the lobby now, hopefully. Damage was turned off. Unfortunately, we had to remake the lobby. Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it happens. It happens. You know, everyone can make mistakes. So here we are now, with everyone in their seats in the right qualifying position. Hopefully, we can get underway with the session. Fingers crossed we have no one disconnecting as well during the session. Because obviously, with everyone racing, it might be a little difficult to get users into the lobby. So again, I still have the music going on. I apologise for deafening your ears with that. I will turn that off now. There we go. There's the timer. And now we are going to get into the race once and for all. Welcome back, everyone. If you've just joined back, we did have technical difficulties. There we go now. Loading is apparently complete. There we go. Now we can see the pit, or the pits. So everyone can connect. Of course, we have a few moments now for the drivers to set up. With the remaking the lobby, people have to put in their race setup, the strategies that they wish to go for, and their fuel. You can underfuel. You can underfuel and you will gain fuel by coasting into the corners, going into the pits, or under a safety car, as you have the option to switch to lean or go to standard. So it is certainly an option to go underfueling, and it will help you gain time on the drivers. I think it was like every extra kilo, every kilo of fuel you have will add a particular set of time to the race. There we go. Every driver is on the grid. And we have the formation lap, which is what we did not have before. So we do have that. I am fumbling with the controls at the moment. There we go. Now let's have a look at the tire compounds that everyone has opted to choose for. That is exactly, well, that's more or less what I was looking for. We have got Ben, the pole sitter, setting in an incredible lap time. The top three are in the 124s. I actually cannot remember their lap time, so I apologize for that. But we have Joris, who qualified in P2, and he's starting on the soft, so he certainly will have a massive, massive tyre advantage over his competitors around him. But how soon before those softs will drop off a cliff? We then have Matthew Bissett in the Alpine sitting in 7th place. He's opted to start on those mediums, along with, as unfortunately, the Williams and the McLaren have disqualified during this session, or during this formation lap. We have then the Alfa Romeo in 12th place, Kick Blend, on the medium compact tyres. We have PHX, Phoenix Nadim, starting on the soft compound tyre after qualifying in 14th place. We've got the McLaren and Alpha Tauri sitting in 16th and 17th. We've got ADT and Donker sitting with the medium compound tyres. And then finally, we've got Adam sitting in 19th place with the soft compound tyres. The rest of the grid, however, have opted for the hard, so I can't imagine I'd be wrong in saying that they are going to go for the one-stop hard mediums, which is certainly the optimal strategy. You go on the slightly harder, slightly longer tyre at the start of the race when you have a lot of fuel, so that when you have less fuel later in the race and you then switch to those mediums, you will certainly be a lot quicker, pardon me. Now, here we go. We've got all the drivers coming round towards the final few corners. Get underway with the race. During the formation lap, just like last game, you can choose the angle at which you attack your car. So you will see some drivers opting to angle their car on going down inside. So you can see the Ferrari, he's angled his car towards where P1 is sitting, in the hopes that with those soft compound tyres, that Ferrari will get a better start and be able to take the lead, blocking off P1. Of course, you can attack to the outside, though in most circumstances that is not ideal, and I can't imagine you wanting to do that at the start of this session. Now, here we go. We've got a couple of drivers disqualified. Hopefully, they can warm up their tyres in time in this first lap. But here we go with WOR social race around Silverstone, and we've got one jump start by the Williams. Grosjean, unfortunately, with a drive-through penalty for that jump start, and now up into third place. We've got Justin. Benny with the hard compound tyres has managed to maintain the lead. Joris just behind. Victor, unfortunately, losing a position. I say that now as Joris now takes the lead with that soft compound tyre advantage. Slightly further back down the grid, we do have a couple tumbling drivers. We've got Grosjean now down to the back of the grid. He's got that drive-through. Jay Cool is up 4th places. Matthew Bassat has unfortunately fallen 5 places. He is starting he is starting on those mediums. So he certainly should have an advantage, but unfortunately has fallen quite far down the order, going very wide there, but keeping out of trouble. Victor as well, he qualified up in 3rd place. He was one of 3 drivers to qualify in the 124s, and he has opted to start on the hard compound tyres, as much of the grid. We see a lot of drivers actually going wide there, going through cops, almost going, what is that? Is that 4 wide? No, it's nearly 3 wide, going through cops now into Maggott and Beckett, all keeping it very tidy. Unfortunately, now as we come through into the 3rd sector, we've had one driver now. Oh my god, what a recovery by Matthew Bassat. He does have front wing damage there. You can see the left end plate of his front wing is gone now, going 3 wide down this hangar straight, trying to defend by all these drivers now as he gets passed by everyone. And now Matthew Bassat is down into 17th place, and not an optimal start for him. But now as we cross the line, Joris with the fastest lap, a 1:30.9, and the Ferrari man is now leading the race after qualifying 2nd place. As we have Grosjean going into the pits, he's going to serve his drive-through, unfortunately, with a 5-second time penalty, as he now retires from the race. Unfortunate to see him gone now. Do have some more changes in the order further back. We've got some fights going on. We've got the Alfa Romeo and the Haas fighting, along with Jamie as well, all fighting for 9th place at the moment. We've also got Nadim going for a move. Nadim with the soft compound tyres managed to make the move on Aaron now up into 12th place. An incredible move by the Aston Martin driver. To qualifying, a very poor qualifying, unfortunately, found himself down into 14th place. But now with the soft compound tyres, he's got the advantage. And now with that inside line, there goes a spinning ADT at the back there. Unfortunately, 16th place now. Will slowly tumble down the order. Phoenix Nadim is now up into 11th place, going very wide out of cops there. Fortunately, though, I think might have kept it valid and free of a warning. Now, leader of the race, Joris, is 1.3 seconds ahead of Benny behind. Of course, he does have those soft compound tyres, and I can't imagine them lasting very long now as he comes through the final sector for the 2nd lap. Sorry, to start the 3rd lap. DRS will be enabled after 2 laps. DRS is the rear wing of the car. When the rear wing is open, Joris with the new fast lap. When the rear wing is open, that is the drag reduction system that is being activated. Drag reduction system will increase the pace that the drivers have going along the straights and will help encourage overtaking and attempts at the fastest lap. If we look slightly further behind, we've got Nadim again making another move now up into 11th place before cops. Sorry, not before cops, before the first corner, before Abbey. He manages to make the move going around the outside on Jamie, I believe. Now he's all over the gearbox of J. Cool just ahead of him. Those soft compound tyres are certainly working like a dream for the Aston Martin driver now. DRS will be enabled, and will he be able to make the move now? 2 moves into one lap. He does now up into 9th place, and the Nadim now provisionally in a position to score 2 points at the end of this race. Of course, the top 10 can score points. It is following the normal racing point system as it is in real life. And of course, you get the fastest lap point if you're in the top 10. There goes Nadim going very wide again out of Cops. Unfortunately, not quite getting the exit that he wants into that corner. That certainly will lose him a lot of time. But he's got 1.2 seconds as drivers ahead, so we'll have to see what he can do. Slightly further behind, we had Jammy previously overtaken, but he's now up into 11th place. I've only just noticed, but J Cool, he qualified 18th place. He's had an incredible start. J Cool's up into 10th place. Those hard compound tires have worked beautifully for him. He's managed to climb his way up slowly up the grid and is now in that last provisional point scoring position. So far, with now the 4th lap just starting, he's started incredibly. Nadim now with the fastest lap of the race as Blends unfortunately retires, and that's our first safety car of the session. Blends has retired. I'm not too sure where he's retired. He's retired just coming out of Cops, actually. So that will be our first safety car of the session, and all drivers have to reduce their speed to a set delta. I don't actually know the percentages, but to a set delta that the game chooses, which I believe will be awfully similar to that of real life. Now everyone must, and it's basically the race is neutralized, and everyone will get squashed together. So that 1.6 second gap that Joris pulled out on those softs, unfortunately, all that work and all of that effort on those softs to try and make the soft start work has gone to waste. As now Benny Fabos, who started on pole, he started on the hard compound tires, will be very close behind him. And with the safety car restart, those hards will certainly be the better tire choice for this restart. Of course, now they've had 4 laps, 5 laps to warm them up. So we'll have to see what can Joris do in this position. We also go slightly further down the order. We got Justin. He's up 3 places, starting on those hard compound tires as well. We got hard compound tires all the way down to Nadim in 9th place. Everyone on the hard compound tires have started quite well. Slightly further down the order, we have lost a few drivers. Matthew Bassat got involved in a first lap incident, if I recall correctly. First or second lap, so he went tumbling down the order. Unfortunately, there goes Joris now into the pits. I imagine he'll just go for the hards. Yeah, he's gone for the hards. So Matthew Bassat is now in 15th place, but the safety car will certainly help him close that gap down to the drivers ahead of him and get back into this fight, as now Joris comes out of the pits. Let's see where he comes out. Who got a pole? Currently on pole, Benny Fabos. Got it on pole for a 1:24.780, I believe the lap time was. It's an incredible pole lap by the Red Bull driver. Closely followed by Ferrari of Joris, who is spectating now. He's opted to pit now with the safety car for the hard compound tires. And for 3rd place, I believe it was Victor. Yeah, it was Victor. Victor being the last driver to qualify in the 1:24 area. So far, we have had a few penalties go around, but Blacks is the only driver to still have a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Unfortunately, that penalty cannot be served in this game, or in pretty much all F1 games. You can only serve 5 and 10-second time penalties. 5 and 10-second time penalties will only be gained if you have a serious collision, causing a severe collision, with another driver, speeding in the pit lane, cutting a corner. There are a few other scenarios where you can get those penalties. I do not know them all off the top of my head. Only those penalties can be served, and if you get the speeding in the pit lane, you can only serve that in your next pit stop. Whereas 3-second time penalties, which you'll get after 2 warnings for track limits or corner cutting, potential corner cutting, it can give you a warning for that. Or perhaps a contact with another driver, it will give you a warning for that as well. You will then get a 3-second time penalty. Of course, those can mass up to, let's say, 15 seconds. That doesn't necessarily mean you can then serve the 5 and 10 seconds. You then have to deal with those 15 seconds, and that will be it. It has to be an individual penalty of 5 or 10 for you to serve it. Otherwise, you have to serve it at the end of the race, and by serve it, I mean it will just be added on to your race time. So unfortunately, it will demote you however many positions. So far now, with ADT, the other McLaren, pitting as well. He's gone for the hard compound tires whilst the grid's coming through the first sector. We have had, let's have a look now, only, what is that, 6 drivers stop. ADT, Aaron, Sol, Matthew, Touch, and Joris. Joris currently leading the pack of those who've stopped and is now on the hard compound tyres. Top 11 are still yet to pit, and of those top 11, the drivers to keep an eye on will be Donka, in position 11 in the AlphaTauri. He started on the medium compound tyres. If he manages to pull them to work at the same length at which a hard compound tyre would last, then well done to him. You know, that's impressive. But then also Nadim, who's opted to start on the soft compound tyres and is still not pitted. So, the safety car restart will potentially help him to climb the positions. But how soon before those softs drop off a cliff and he will be forced to pit and go for potentially what will be a one-stop, as we have a change in order there. I think Igor's having a bit of lag there and now finds himself down into 16th place. So some drivers have been promoted a few places because of the game being perfect. And there we go. Safety car is in this lap. So now the grid will slowly bounce up. It is up to Benny Fabos, the Red Bull, to choose the pace of the cars behind him. It is then down to the cars behind him to be aware of when he decides to start. Preferably, you start when the safety car... Well, actually, I say preferably. You have to only start once the safety car is in the pits. So the safety car is now in the pits, more or less. So he can start anywhere between the chicane, the final chicane, the Vale chicane, to turn 16 and 17, or he could wait all the way up until club, the final corner, and then floor it in the mid-section of the corner. But I think now going through the chicane, I think he might have hit it now. Yeah, he has. He's going full for it. He's already using his ERS now, and he is pulling away. He's almost a second away, sorry, 9/10 away from the competition behind. Justin was possibly caught sleeping there, as now Sanchez is close behind. Keep an eye on Nadim, though. He is starting on the softs and will certainly have a huge advantage on the competitors around, as now Joris takes a position on Donka ahead of him. Donka on those medium compound tyres. Matthew as well. Matthew's climbing the positions. He's actually fighting with the Alfa Romeo. There is contact between the two of them. But fortunately, I think both of them have come off with no damage at all. Going down for the move on the inside. Matthew with the inside line. He manages to keep it very tidy, very well in track limit, sorry. And now takes the position from the Alfa Romeo, but is now behind the AlphaTauri. Side by side into Cops. Could this be another incident? Are they going to go side by side? They are. They do touch, but unfortunately... Unfortunately, the Alpine does get ahead, and so now the AlphaTauri is down into 11th or 12th place, fighting with the Alfa Romeo just behind. So many Alphas. As now Benny puts in a 1.1 second lead to the drivers behind. Here we go, another three-way fight. There is contact there between the Williams and the Alfa Romeo. Fortunately, neither driver coming off spinning, but now Touch is up into 12th place. Donka and Sol, here we go, diving down the inside. The Alfa Romeo tried to make the move. Was that the Alfa Romeo? That's the AlphaTauri, sorry. Tried to make the move going down the inside. Unfortunately, a slight collision between him and the Romeo did find him to then ghost, and now the Williams has gone through up into 13th place. So an incredible start so far. Sorry, an incredible battle so far between them all. As now Nadim is up into 6th place. I might have missed a battle there, unfortunately. As we do have another battle at the further down the grid, we've got Igor, who unfortunately, you can see there, he's lagging, he is stuttering, going behind the pack. There it goes. I'm going to have to cut myself off there. There goes Nadim now with the soft compound tyres. He's gone up into 5th place. And now with 0.2 seconds behind Raymond in the AlphaTauri, is he going to make another move into Cops now? He does look to go for a move down the inside, but he keeps very cautiously behind, and perhaps he's going to wait for the main straight. Now going into Maggots, we got the left-hander, then the right-hander again. You can see Nadim gearing down slowly, going through these corners into Beckett, and now towards Chapel, sorry. DRS will not be enabled. Safety car restart will require you to still complete 2 laps before the DRS is enabled. Now, Nadim is up into 4th place, so an incredible start for the Aston Martin driver, and now he's almost in reaching, He's so close to a podium position is what I'm trying to say. There we go. There it is. Race control now enabling DRS, and Joris now taking the position from Victor. Joris once was in 11th place after pitting off of the softs and onto the hard compound tyres, and now he's up into 6th place, rapidly closing in on the drivers ahead of him, as now Igor unfortunately retires from the session. So now it's down to Joris, the lone Ferrari in this race, to try and battle it out for the top of the timing sheets. We do have a battle going on in the back there. The Alfa Romeo and the Alpine are all fighting. I believe the Williams just behind is also in the battle. They've got 2 medium tyres and a hard compound tyre all fighting for 11th place there. And now with DRS, the Alfa Romeo is going to go for a move down the inside. He's got the better line. He's got the better tyre advantage, and he got the move now up until 11th place, just behind the points position. He does have a penalty, unfortunately. Those 3 seconds will not be served before the end of the race. He'll serve it at the end of the race, as now the Williams gets through on... Oh, no, okay, sorry. I just cut myself off twice there. The Williams was fighting. Now, Jammy's going through. Now they're going too wide through, and Mackets and Beckett. That's incredibly risky by the 2 drivers, but I've managed to keep it very clean and very good driving by them all. A yellow flag in this first sector. I think this might be the Mercedes going slow, as now Sanchez and Nadim go up into the podium position, 2nd and 3rd place now. It's Justin, I think, might have had a bit of a mistake going into that 3rd sector, as now Nadim is opting to pit. He's done with those soft compound tyres. We'll have to see what he goes for. I can't imagine him going for those the medium compound tyres at this stage in the race. Now Joris up into 4th place. He is, if we look, as we also have Donka going in the pits, unfortunately, with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. If we have a look at the pit stops, Joris is in the lead in terms of who has pitted. So you have to pit onto a different compound of tyres before the end of the race. It is mandatory that every driver, pits onto a different compound before the end of the race. And Joris is the leading car to have done that so far, and he has a 4-lap advantage on those hard compound tyres to the drivers around him. So I have to see what comes from that. Now Nadim in 15th place comes out. He's got the hard compound tyres. He's got a lot of work to catch up, though, as of course all of the drivers are so close together. And hopefully those softs did him a lot of work to help him improve and gain positions. Now, if we go on board with Jay Cool, he's going through Maggot and Beckett. He is slowly closing that gap down to touch ahead of him, 3/10 ahead of him. Of course, he will have the tyre advantage on those mediums, especially 5-lap fresh mediums, compared to Jay Cool's 9-lap old hards. So we'll have to see. Will the DRS be enough? It is not enough, unfortunately, going down that Hangar Straight. It's not enough. And there goes the Alpine, or the Williams, sorry. I'm getting all my teams caught up. And there is a front wing. We've got a Mercedes and a McLaren off of the track. There was a collision between the 2 teams. We've got the ADT from MCL, from McLaren, sorry. You can see his end plate there is off of his car. The right end plate, and the Mercedes does not look to have had any damage to his car. Of course, you can get side pod and rear wing damage, and unfortunately that is not visual for us to see. There is clearly something there, though. Unfortunately, he has a bit of a snap there, trying to come out of the corner. Certainly something... Oh, sorry, possibly something to have to review back later, maybe. We'll have to see. But it was a very feisty fight for them to get very close, unfortunately, with both drivers coming off very, very hard. Jammy now with a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Only 3 drivers with track limit penalties, as Donka still has the 5 seconds before speeding in the pit lane. As we go on board with Touch now, is going through Maggot and Beckett. He's still got Jay Cool very close behind him. He's fighting for the last point scoring position. He's got a Sol just ahead of him who's been climbing up the ranks. And I'm going to have to jump to the head of the grid, because now Joris is up into P2. What an incredible drive by the Ferrari man. He's managed to take the softs, get an incredible launch off of the start. And now he is up into P2 with 4-lap fresher hards. And he's already pitted as well. So Benny will still have to pit before anything happens further down the grid. Got a slow Haas. I think the Haas has just gone off the grid, unfortunately. Yeah, he's got a 10-second time penalty for, I believe that was track limits, or corner cutting. So unfortunately, Black's coming off of the track now will have to recuperate, fighting his teammate. Hopefully not too hard, and they do not collide with one another. That 10 seconds will have to be served at the end of the race as we have a fight for the lead of the race. There goes Joris. He's going for a move around the outside now, around Luffield, coming towards Woodcut and into the old pit straight. And now the lead of the race, or the leader of the race, has changed. Now going into the Cops, Joris leads with those fresher, 4-lap fresher hards. And I did say it before, those are going to be a huge advantage, and they have worked beautifully. And he has pitted, and he has come out to lead the race now. The question is, how far can he go and pull a gap away? Of course, Benny will have to pit, and I imagine he will want to stay within DRS range of his competitor ahead of him in order to keep himself in the fight when he pits. Welcome, Kerry. Do have, of course, we got the 2 Red Bulls. They have the same tires, but it looks as though Sanchez has got more pace around this track than he does than his teammate ahead of him, Benny Fabos. So I have to see, perhaps team orders, or perhaps there's going to be fights between the 2 of them in this social race around Silverstone. Are we going to have them swap positions, or are they going to just stick it out and continue fighting? Now Jammy goes in the pits, and he's done with those hard compound tires. I imagine perhaps Jammy had some front wing damage. It looks as though... No, he didn't have any front wing damage. Or maybe I've missed the front wing damage replacement, but he's onto the mediums with now 13 laps remaining, and I imagine those mediums will surely be crying before the end of the race. We'll have to see, though. We've got still lots to check out. We've got Blacks slowly closing in on a touch ahead of him. Blacks, if we look at... Oh, apologies. We'll look at the penalties. 16 seconds, or 6 seconds for track limits. He does bunt his teammate ahead of him going into Cops, but fortunately they managed to keep control, and you can see Blacks there. His rear light is blinking, which now means his ERS is down below 10%. And so he has used it all up trying to attack and recover potentially. I have to see what I can do with those 16 seconds of penalties still yet to serve. Jekyll very close to touch just ahead of him. I think he's still trying to go for a move, but perhaps it is time. Oh, he's gone for the move. Touch is gone for the pit, sorry. And so Jekyll and his Haas teammate Blacks is up into the point scoring positions together, 9th and 10th place for the 2 of them. So Touch, I imagine, will go for the hard compound tires now to the end of the race. I do apologize if I miss any battles. I am doing my best to try and capture it all. We do have some inter-fights here, inter-team fights between Blacks and J-Cool. Unfortunately, J-Cool had a bit of a spin, which is why he has the 10-second of time penalties added to his, well, penalty list. So now Blacks up into 9th place. He managed to make the move on his teammate. Perhaps he has the pace to be able to climb the ranks. If we go further ahead, we've still got the Red Bulls still in the same order. Benny, Fabos, and Sanchez have opted to stay in their same positions. But Joris, with those fresher hards, have not managed to pull the gap that he was hoping to once do. So perhaps it is down to a game of attrition. Who will be able to make it the furthest is now Fabos with DRS. He was close enough, and now going into the top of the hill into Stowe, he takes the lead of the race back, and now he goes into the pits. Fabos taking the lead of the race and now dives into the pits. Joris back into the lead, and Justin has now been promoted up into the podium places for 3rd place. The the Mercedes driver, if we look at the position changes, qualified in 6th place, is now up into 3rd place. 4 drivers. We also got Victor, Sol, and J. Cool in the pits, as long with Aaron. So now Nadim, who's 6.4 seconds behind, is coming through the final few corners. He's going to have himself an extra 5 positions, if he manages to get ahead of him. There goes 2 of them. There's the McLaren. Does he get the Red Bull? He does. Now Nadim up into 7th place on those hard compound tires, opting to start on those soft compound tires, is now in 7th place in a very strong point scoring position. But there is still much of this race to go. We got 11 laps to go. So we'll have to see what will happen now with a lot of the grid opting to pit off of those hards. We'll see what the rest of the grid have done. Nadim's grid start was in 14th place, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Nadim, yeah, he was in 14th place. So far, a pretty good start to the race, or a pretty good climb through the race, rather, because we are 15 laps into it. But now, we had Fabos pull the trigger 1 lap ago for those tires. There goes his teammate. There goes the... Unfortunately, there goes the Mercedes. And the Mercedes, with a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, that certainly will hurt his race time, as Matthew Bassat now goes through into the final corner and crosses the line to take 2nd place in this race. He has pitted. He pitted at the start of the lap after an unfortunate collision with a couple of drivers. Now we lost Blacks after 16 seconds time penalties. I too would be quite frustrated. Unfortunately, we have now lost him from the race. Joris with a 6-second lead at the moment, with Matthew Bassat in 3rd place. And I believe Nadim is not, unfortunately, not close enough. Nope, never mind. Take those words right out of my mouth. Nadim was close enough. Now Nadim is up into 3rd place. And Fabos is closing in behind, 1.6 seconds behind, and his teammate 1.6 seconds behind as well. Now, so we have an entirely new set of drivers on the provisional podium, at the moment. We've got Joris, Matthew, and Nadim, Ferrari, Alpine, and Aston Martin. Now, every driver has stopped. Every driver has served their mandatory pit stop onto the mandatory set of tyres that they needed to serve before the end of the race. And Nadim with a 20-second gap to the drivers behind. So that's 26 seconds between Joris and Nadim. In theory, Joris could, if he wanted to, pit for softs, climb his way back up. Okay, Joris is in the pits. Is he about to do exactly what I just said he's probably going to do? This is interesting. Now here comes Matthew. Now Matthew is going to take the lead of the race, coming around the final corner for the first time in this race. Matthew leads into the 17th lap. Joris is pitting for the mediums, I believe. Yeah, those are the mediums. So Joris is going to have a huge advantage over his competitors around him. Or at least to Nadim ahead of him. If Nadim makes it, or is Joris going to get out ahead? No, Nadim's going to make it. And now Joris will have certainly quite a lot of work to do as Victor puts in the new fastest lap of 1:28.4. Joris coming out in 5th place. He's coming out battling Justin, who's pitted just a lap ago. But those medium compound tires for the Ferrari will unfortunately be cold. He has to warm them up. He needs to make sure that he doesn't fight too hard and lose traction and lose all of it and all of that hard work. Now going for the 2-stop strategy. He's gone from the softs to the hards to the mediums. He's got the DRS as well. And I think he's optimal. He's in the optimal position to take the move. He's got the move and he's up into 5th place. He's managed to fire up those mediums beautifully and managed to make the move. And further ahead, talk about making moves. We've got Benny Fabos closing that gap down to the Nadim. Nadim up into 2nd place with an 18.5-second gap to Matthew Bassat ahead of him. But Nadim is under pressure, 2.5 tenths behind. Ben Fabos with those fresher 2-lap-old mediums, and his teammate just a second behind on a lap-old mediums, rapidly closing in. And now with DRS wide open, he is going to go for the move. He's got the pace, and he certainly has the tires for it. ERS is also deployed, and now up into Stowe. Benny Fabos, apologies, is now up into 2nd place. He certainly will have a huge advantage to Matthew, but will it be a big enough advantage that in the next 8 laps he catches 18 seconds up into pole position as Sanchez puts in the fastest lap, a 1:28.0, 4 seconds off of their qualifying time, but still an incredibly impressive lap time nonetheless. Nadim still half a second back, so he's still within this fight. But those hard compound tires will certainly not do him much good as he has a bit of a snap of oversteer. Unfortunately, though, he's managed to keep control. Sanchez is now within attacking distance. He will not have DRS. Sorry, he was within a second, but across the DRS line, through DRS detection line, he was outside of a second. Therefore, does not get DRS on that main straight. So now we have ourselves, what is this? Nearly a 4-5 car battle for P2 between Benny Fabos and Matthew Bassat. Now going through the 2nd sector, he's managed to cut that gap down by 2 seconds. Matthew Bassat is now leading by only 16 seconds, where it was once 18 seconds 2 sectors ago. So perhaps those mediums really are going to work wonders for him. And Benny Fabos will be able to close that gap down quite quickly. But we can't forget, we can't focus just on the front of the pack. We do have fights for the last few points scoring positions. We've got Jammy on the 5-lap-old mediums fighting Touch just ahead of him in the Alfa Romeo. On those 4-lap-old hards, he's half a second back. He will have DRS, but I don't think, unfortunately, he will not be quite close enough to make the move as Sanchez puts in a new fast lap, a 1:27.8. He is pushing. He's now 2.5 tenths behind the Deem. And he's going to have DRS. He's going to have a massive advantage on the Deem on this next straight now. Or is he going to... No, he's going to wait for the straight. He's going to wait for the straight and he's going to make the move. And he's going to secure himself, or potentially secure himself, apologies, with 7 laps remaining. A Red Bull 2-3 now, 15 seconds splitting the top 2. DRS wide open. Sanchez is very close to Nadim. Unfortunately, he's not quite close enough to take the position. So Nadim's going to hold on for a bit longer here, now going to round towards the old pit straight. Oh, sorry, it's technically called the National Pit Straight, but I only know it as the old pit straight. But now we have 3, 4, nearly half a second splitting the top, positions 2 to 4. We've got Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Red Bull all fighting for second place. Sanchez will have DRS. He's very close. He will certainly have the pace advantage over the Nadim to take the position. But the Nadim as well with the DRS. He will defend it. He will attack. He will take second place. And now the 2 Red Bulls are fighting for position. But Benny Fabos maintains the lead in that inter-team fight. Now Nadim back up into second place, 14 seconds to the lead of the race. And if this fight continues, Matthew Passett could walk away with the race victory in hand. And as further back, we've also got Jammy with the DRS, manages to finally make the move around Touch, and now finds himself in the last point-scoring position for this race. Now as Alfa Romeo goes for a very daring move down the inside. Unfortunately, he does not manage to keep control of his car there. Oh no, he does! He's managed to maintain control. There is contact between the Alpine and the Alfa Romeo, and unfortunately, the Alfa Romeo could not control his car and has now gone backwards and has received a 10-second time penalty for track limits, which is quite unfortunate after an incident between him and the Alfa Romeo. So now the Alfa Romeo is down into 11th place, and J. Cool finds himself up into 10th place in the final point-scoring position. But that was a very unfortunate fight, a very interesting fight between the 3 of them, but very unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo and for the Alpine to come together such as that, and for the Alpine to walk away with 10 seconds for extremely exceeding track limits, which is unfortunately completely out of his control. And to my opinion, I feel like that penalty is quite unfair. But here we go now. Nadim with his first 3-second time penalty in his race. And here comes Joris. Joris with those mediums. He opted to pit for a second time, going for a 2-stop strategy. And Joris is absolutely cooking. I agree with you. And unfortunately, Joris is spun. Going into Stowe, Joris was fighting with the Red Bulls for 3rd place there. Unfortunately, had a bit of contact between 2 of them. Joris now down into 7th place. And unfortunately, has lost it in that fight. He does still have about 4 or 5 seconds to the drivers ahead of him, and he certainly has a tyre advantage to them ahead. But can he recover from that spin? Are those tyres going to be far too overheated, or is he going to be able to cool them down in time to catch the fight ahead? Joris turned up the stove a little too high. I agree. He's gone a little too hot into that fight. But he is certainly a driver to keep an eye on, because he is very close in this fight. And there he goes for another move now down that first straight, down that pardon me, down that Wellington straight, now up into 6th place. He is going to fight, and he is going to fight like hell. Nadim now 11.5 seconds, 11 seconds, slowly and rapidly closing that gap down to Matthew Bassett ahead with only 5 laps remaining, soon to be 4. Can Nadim continue to extend this lead that he has over Sanchez behind? Because obviously, unfortunately, Benny Fabos and Joris were the 2 who collided. So Fabos is now behind his teammate. Can Nadim take advantage of this incident behind him and continue to extend that lead from 1.2 seconds to Sanchez behind to perhaps even more, and keep him outside of his DRS zone as Matthew Bassett now crosses the line to start the 22nd lap of this race. Slightly further down the order, we've got Sol, who qualified. Let's have a look now. Qualified in last place, and he's up 11 places. Mind you, 5 drivers are out of the race, but still an incredible drive to find himself 6 places higher than he once was at the start of the race. Now he's half a second back from Raymond ahead of him, the AlphaTauri driver. Can he find himself in a much higher position and score himself an extra point? Which would be crucial. We now have Benny Fabos getting ahead of his teammate. I'm not really quite surprised there. He certainly has the pace and the enthusiasm to try and fight for that position. I say that as he goes wide there, and Sanchez now takes the lead in that fight. And now they're looking to go too wide into Cops. Okay, they don't go too wide. That's fine. So there's a bit of a fight between the two teammates, as now Victor Garcia gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, which will likely be, a cause for track limits. Now Joris, he's got 2.8 seconds behind Justin, whilst Benny Fabos, is closing in on his teammate very quickly. Hopefully he can make the move. He's got his teammate ahead of him flashing. Whereas if we look to Benny Fabos, he's still got himself 13% for ERS. He's still got loads. He's got a snap of overstay coming out to that final corner. Fortunately keeping control, but Justin is now all over the gearbox, almost pushing that Red Bull ahead. Benny Fabos now, once fighting for podium position, is now heavily under pressure from Justin behind. Joris now 2.5 seconds behind. Slowly closing in is now Matthew Bissett. Matthew Bissett is off of the grid, off of the race. What's happened here for Matthew Bissett as Nadim now takes the lead of the race on a 3-second time penalty. Still provisionally will not win the race, but he has to extend that lead. But what has happened to Matthew Bissett, who is now off of the track? He's got a puncture. Matthew Bissett has a puncture. His front right tire, you can see very clearly he has a puncture, and unfortunately Bissett has had that win quickly get ripped out of his hands, and the tires are just not having it. Now Nadim with a 2.9 second lead to Sanchez behind. He does have a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Can he keep it together for the last 3 laps of this race and maintain first place and win? Still a lot to happen. He's now outside of that 3-second window, but we have to see. Maybe with this swap in position, with Ben Fabos in the lead between the two teams, between the two teammates, will Fabos help pull Sanchez along and get into that fight for the lead of the races? They are still floating over that 3-second gap. Nadim has got a very small window to be able to push, and unfortunately that time penalty is not going to do him any help at all. Slightly further down, we've still got a few more fights. We've got Touch and J. Cool. They have been non-stop fighting one another throughout this entire race. I don't think I've seen them fight very much with anyone else, but there's constantly been the two of them fighting now for 9th place, as Aaron in the Mercedes just ahead of him has come within a second of J. Cool. So now the two drivers, Touch and J. Cool, will have DRS to the drivers ahead of them, and it'll be a close battle to the end of the race. Now 2 laps remaining. What will happen? We'll have to see. 3.5 seconds leading Nadim from Benny Fabos, and only 2 laps remaining. It is starting to certainly calm down across the grid. If you have a look at the timings, you can see you've got the two teammates who are all very close together coming through Magda Beckett's now. I think Sanchez might have the pace, and he will certainly have the DRS advantage. Could he potentially try and go for a move on his teammate? He's going round the right side and now into Stowe. This fighting between the two teammates, or between the two Red Bulls, certainly will not help with their time to try and catch up to Nadim ahead. I say that as now they drop below that 3-second mark. Perhaps Nadim made a small error. We'll have to see going through the race. Red Bulls collide and John's to win. Here we go. Joris to win. Well, we'll have to see. Joris is certainly closing that gap after that unfortunate spin with Benny Fabos. He found himself down into 7th place. He's now up into 5th place, 1.4 seconds off of Justin ahead, who's currently in a 3-way fight for 2nd place. So with now a lap and a bit to go, Can Joris cut that time down unto under a second before Maggots and Beckett? Can he get DRS down? Sorry, get DRS enabled before the hangar straight and get into the fight for the podium positions? Of course, Justin still has a 5-second time penalty to serve before the end of the race. Unfortunately, that was for speeding in the pit lane and will not be served until he crosses the line or goes into the pits once more, which will be unfortunate if he had to do so. So now Joris will sit in a provisional position of 4th place, but will he have the pace to cut it down? Now going through into Maggots and Beckett, he's not quite close enough. He is very low on ERS as well. You can see his blinkers flashing. He's on 2%. So unfortunately, he has not got enough in the bank for ERS to try and catch the drivers ahead of him. But certainly an incredible fight, an incredible drive by the Ferrari man now coming down the Wellington straight. Sorry, not the Wellington straight, the hangar straight down towards Stowe. But we still have a lap to go. Still lots can happen in this next lap. Perhaps Joris might find himself on the podium positions. We'll have to see. As we have a position change that's not quite updated. It did update. Okay, there we go. Sol now up in 7th place. And the AlphaTauri of Raymond fighting for 7th place. Unfortunately, losing out the position. The tire advantage does go to Raymond with a lap fresher mediums. Oh, no, not a lap fresher. They pit at the same time. Okay. Well, the advantage goes to neither driver. They have equal pace in terms of driver, in terms of tire advantage. But unfortunately, sorry, not unfortunately. Fortunately, fighting for 8th place. It was 9th place. Benny Fabos now with a 3-second time penalty, and there goes the Mercedes. There's a contact between the Red Bull and the Mercedes now, as Benny Fabos is into 3rd place, Justin is demoted into 5th place, and Joris up into 4th place. But that 3-second time penalty is going to be horrible to serve at the end of the race. Now Joris is looking at a provisional 3rd place for the Ferrari man. He had an incredible start with the soft compound tires. He pitted for the hard compound tires during the safety car, as now Raymond gets a 3-second time penalty, and then after the safety car, well after the safety car, around lap 17, lap 18, Joris pitted for the mediums. He has had a massive tire advantage compared to the competition around him, and he has pushed like mad, and that absolute power push through the grid is going to be rewarded as it should be. And there goes Nadim crossing the line with a 4.7-second gap to the drivers behind him. And with that 3-second time penalty, he will find himself still in the lead of the race. After qualifying in 14th place, he's climbed 13 positions to the top of the timing sheet as Sanchez takes 2nd place for Red Bull, and Joris with an incredible drive, unfortunate drive as well. He qualified 2nd place and unfortunately did not quite get there to the top of the timing sheets, and he managed to secure at least a 3rd place, still a podium to finish off the race with. And then Fabos, unfortunately, with that 3-second time penalty for track limits at the end of the race, did not manage to secure that podium. Victor in 5th place, an incredible drive by the McLaren. I believe he was the driver to get involved in an incident during the race. He did lose part of his front wing, but he's managed to come back, I believe. Justin with that spin, he did have a 5-second time penalty to serve as well. So whilst he may have finished on track in 5th place, he finishes after penalties in 6th place. Raymond, Aaron, J. Cool, and Touch to finish off the top 10, all securing points. And if we have a quick look before the race ends, there's the fastest lap. Jammy with the fastest lap. He's not in the top 10, so unfortunately he will not get the extra point, apologies, for that fastest lap, but he certainly does steal it away from the drivers ahead of him. But incredible drive by Nadim indeed. And then along with Sanchez fighting with his teammate, unfortunately did not do him justice to be able to fight for the win. And then we have Joris with an incredible recovery drive after a spin. Oh, that was very exciting. That got very exciting very quickly, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was an incredible drive by everyone. It was very unfortunate that we lost. I believe we lost about 6 or 7 drivers in that race. But it is racing. It does happen. It's quite unfortunate. There's no Control Z for these collisions between the drivers. But there you have it, folks. He started 14th and he's on pole. He went for a one-stop strategy. He went from the soft compound tires, starting in 14th place, climbing so far up the grid, and then finishing out on the hard compound tires. Very unfortunate, though, I have to say, whilst Nadim definitely deserves the driver of the day, it is to note that Matthew Bassett, drove beautifully, and unfortunately, with a front right puncture, went from leading the race or fighting for the lead of the race to out of this race. Very unfortunate ending for the Alpine driver, but uh, it's like I said, it's racing. It happens. It's very unfortunate, and I do feel sorry for the driver. But it is what it is, and there it is. Almost everyone opting for the 2-stop, and a few drivers opting for the 3-stop. But clearly, the soft hards worked beautifully, as did the medium to hards. That has been the social race for Britain. I have been Darkness. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, WR, to letting me to commentate the race tonight. I do hope to see you guys again and be able to do this again. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you do too. Unfortunately, there will not be any interviews. But it has been fun nonetheless. I'm sure you can imagine how ecstatic Nadim will be after such a tough race in this on this track. Other than that, I think that will be it. Thank you everyone for joining me today. I look forward to perhaps doing this again. Until next time. Unfortunately, we won't be able to hear from Nadim. But yeah, no. Until next time, thank you everyone for joining.